Good morning, gentlemen of the press. The world has been faced with the most challenging and suffocating experience of recorded history as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. We stand together in the face of this obvious threat to humanity. We are grateful to the medical professional and health workers who are at the forefront of the fight. We salute our own presidential task force and state government for their tireless effort. And to the media, we cannot thank you enough for the coverage and enlightenment to Nigerians. But while we continue to battle this particular virus, COVID-19, there is need, especially with a gradual return to work, to also tackle the viruses that ail our progress in the civil and public service. This pandemic has altered forever the ways things are done in Nigeria. There can no longer be space for individuals who are unworthy of a public space because the recovery will be needed after this period. Men and women with uncommon competency and questionable character and credentials. A case in point is that of Mr. Edet Sunday Akpan, Permanent Secretary who served in the Ministry of Trade and Investment, who is accused of corruption, forgery, and criminal falsification of information, with which he has gotten promoted and remained in service beyond his retirement age. He is now in the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. This should not happen when younger people are looking for a space to offer their service to this country. It is even more worrisome as it is alleged that Mr. Akpan is shielded by a powerful man in government. We dare say that a person who is disturbed by his own stench is capable of participating in a clean society or activities and environment. For instance, as a permanent secretary, we do not believe that he can do anything justly because people that are shielding him from being prosecuted can, one way or the other, persuade him to do things that are contrary to the interests of this country or nation. How can a permanent secretary who is thinking with his own credentials, with his own criminal record, perform credibly? There should be enough of that pollution of the public space. According to available record, which is being investigated by Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences, ICPC, for an unduly long time now, Mr. Akpan paraded questionable academic credentials and falsified his age of birth in order to remain in service beyond his retirement age. His primary and secondary school certificates are said to be missing from his record. This appears for an obvious reason of their non-existence or to hide a falsified date of birth. We are aware, it is alleged, that when Oyo Ita was the head of service, when she was a permanent secretary, they were friends because there's no difference between Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State, and as such, she became the head of civil service, and we were told that they conspired to change his date of birth. His primary school and secondary school certificate are missing in his file. 8. He transferred his service to the federal government in 1990 with the same record of date of birth of 1958. However, in his IPPIS, he entered his date of birth as 1962. This is a deliberate criminal falsification. He helped him overstay in service. And we are saying that other people should be given an opportunity to offer their service to this nation. For the vendor of that, without certificate to authenticate, Mr. Akpan is said to claim that he started his education at Akwa Ibom Science Secondary School, 89 Institute in 1965. The first and the most serious of the wonder of the world is how someone born in 1962 can start secondary school in 1965. The implication is that he went from primary to junior secondary school even before he was ever conceived. And assuming without considering this, he was primary, mean that he started in 1965. It means that his primary school education at the record of, he started primary at the record of 3 years. That should have made an entry into the Guinness Book of Records. These allegations were first made by a group of civil society under the age of concerned public servant, and it is on record that Mr. Edet Sunday Akpan has not denied this allegation. It is therefore clear that Mr. Akpan is allowed to pollute civil service with his forgery and falsified information and appear to be shielded by some powerful forces to stay beyond his retirement age and escape the punishment of the law against all the service the Civil Service Act and standard practice. Two related facts are observed. One, if Mr. Akpan was born in 1958, he ought to have retired 2 years ago. Two, if he was born in 1962, it was practically impossible that he started primary school, even in some argument, secondary school education in 1965. Consequently, upon the foregoing, we urge Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the apostle of anti-corruption, is a man of the people, is somebody that Nigerians believe so much in, to investigate Mr. Akpan Sunday. If found capable, sack him and prosecute him to serve as a deterrent to other offenders and will be offender. Before then, he should be suspended. He should be suspended because he cannot be a judge in your own case. The ICPC is hereby under an obligation to make the investigation public, for transparent, to make it finally public, so that Nigerians should know what is happening. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. Okay.